About a month ago, I was at a thrift store looking for gifts for some people I know, and I actually made a selfish move. I bought a book for myself. I recognized this book. It's called The Millionaire Next Door, but the thing was, I didn't actually plan on reading the book. I had this idea to use the book as this, almost like this filing system for note cards. Each night before I go to bed, I reflect on my entire day. I think about the new realizations and new ideas that I stumbled upon that day. This includes podcasts, books, notes, even conversations I have with other people, and even my interactions with the world at large. And I take a few minutes to think about all these things, and I narrow everything down to one important thing, the most important thing. I put a date at the top of the note card, and then I write down this most important thing and I file it away in my book. Today I'm going to share with you guys the 3 most important things I learned in the month of January. It's going to be a little bit different of a format compared to some of my other videos. It's just going to be me talking about these ideas. So if you don't want to listen to the whole thing, I'm going to leave timestamps in the description box with where I'm talking about each different idea, and you can just pick the one that interests you or whatnot. I'm going to start off with idea number 1. Do one thing at a time. This is an idea from a monk who goes by the name Dandapani. What does he mean by this? Instead of driving and listening to a podcast, just drive. Instead of working out and listening to music, just work out. Instead of having a conversation with somebody and also having a conversation in your pocket through text messaging, just have one conversation. Instead of eating dinner and watching TV, just eat dinner. He's saying, do one thing at a time. Because when you do 2 things, you're literally giving both things half of your attention. You know, in a world where technology is becoming like this, super intertwined, you know, where we can listen to podcasts, we can watch TV, we can do all these things at the same time. I'm not saying that these things are bad things, but I think it's important to pull them apart. Pull apart technology and your real life. Because if you intertwine them too much, you're just training your brain to be distracted. When you watch a movie and you keep looking at your phone, you're just training your brain to not be able to focus on one thing at a time. And if you apply this to your life, you'll literally be amazed by how much little mundane experiences can become way more enjoyable. In a world where multitasking and productivity and doing all these things at the same time is encouraged, Dandapani is saying, look, if you actually want to enjoy your life, do one thing at a time. Stop doing so much. Just try it. The second idea that I want to talk about comes from a book called The Analects by Confucius. And in this book, Confucius says, the most important habit one can cultivate is to ask oneself, what shall I think of this? I talked about this in the video I made about Confucius, but I think it's so important that I want to talk about it again. In the modern world, it's so easy to almost act like a computer where we just take in loads of data and we just regurgitate out this information and we don't really give it any thought. You know, these things that we are absorbing all have biases. Everything has bias. This video itself has a bias. The news, everything you're listening to, you have to consider where you're getting this stuff from. It's so easy to just accept what people are telling you is true without actually asking yourself what you think about the idea. And the problem is, if you don't ever ask yourself, you'll develop this belief system that you don't even know whether or not it's yours. You'll just have adopted all of these ideas from other people, and none of them are actually your own original ideas. And there's nothing wrong with just hearing something and knowing that it's right, but you need to give it some thought. So the third idea that I want to talk about actually comes from this book called The Third Door. In this book, there's a college student who is essentially sitting on his bed one night, and he's feeling super empty inside, super depressed, and he doesn't have any purpose for his life. And he realizes that there's no real advice out there for how to start your career. All these people tell you all these hacks and stuff, but no one tells you what they did to start their career. You see all these successful people later on in their careers, but you don't realize that they had to get started somewhere. So he seeks out all these successful people, these super successful people, and he figures out how they started their careers. And along his journey, he runs into this guy named Eliot. And Eliot tells Alex this one thing. Since I heard this quote, I've literally used and thought about it every single day of my life. The quote goes, "The greatest cure of nervousness is immediate action." For example, when I'm disciplining myself and I'm trying to take a cold shower, but I'm standing in the bathroom and I'm chickening out about it, I just realized this quote and I immediately move into action. And my nervousness is cured. It's not as bad as I thought. I'm just pushing off this uncomfortable situation for as long as I can. Same thing goes for when I'm attempting to film these videos. Like, this is still an uncomfortable thing for me to talk to a camera, and I'll push it off as far as I can. But eventually, what is the purpose of just sitting around waiting? What I'm starting to realize is that I suffer so much more in my imagination. I think things are going to be so much worse than they actually are. Don't want to work out because the workout seems like it's going to be really hard. Stop thinking about it, go do it. Don't want to call that person because you're nervous about how it might go. Stop thinking, go do it. Don't want to make that healthy meal because, well, it's going to taste bland and disgusting compared to what a Wendy's cheeseburger would taste like. Stop thinking, just go prepare the meal. Stop procrastinating the things that you're going to end up doing and you should be doing. Even if the thing is as bad as you think it's going to be, pushing it off only serves to extend your suffering. If you remember anything from this video, it's that as soon as you finish this video, you should take the time to think about what you think about it. Don't just take my word for these things. I'm just another voice out there, and you don't want to just accept what I say is true. But if you take the time and you come to the realization that what I'm talking about could maybe help you enjoy life a little more, start applying these principles a little bit at a time. Try to recognize the next time that you're multitasking and just break the things apart and do one thing at a time and give your full attention to that thing. And if you feel yourself getting nervous about something, just remind yourself of that quote and move immediately into action. There's really no sense in waiting around. I really hope you guys enjoyed this monthly review kind of format. And if you enjoyed the video, hit like. If you didn't enjoy the video, hit dislike. Let me know what you didn't like about it. If you're new here, my name is Max, and I talk about well-being, wisdom, really just how we can live more healthy and aware lives. And seriously, let me know what you guys thought about the video in the comments section. I'd love to get your guys' perspective on some of these ideas because these are clearly some of the most important things I thought that I learned this month. But I'd like to get different perspectives on them. I'd like to start some kind of dialogue in the comments. And remember, as you go about your day-to-day, just pay attention.